Hey, what's up, y'all? So I'm back with another Road to CCNA video, and in this video, we covered Dynamic NAT and PAT, or Port Address Translation. Now, starting with Dynamic NAT, as you know, in our last video, we covered Static NAT, where we assign one inside global address to one inside local address and translate that. Now, this time with Dynamic Network Address Translation, we create a pool and an ACL. Now, this pool is going to be the list of inside global addresses, and the ACL is the addresses we're basically going to permit that allows us to translate to the unique global address. Now, while this might be easier to deal with as opposed to static NAT, because they dynamically change, each address is assigned for only a certain amount of time, and then it gets cycled through to another inside local address. This still doesn't accomplish the goal of the overuse of IP version 4 addresses, but that's where PAT comes in. Now with PAT, it's a bit different. Port address translation, it allows multiple inside local addresses to use the same inside global address, as long as they have different port numbers. Now, when it comes to how it's configured, it is slightly different from Dynamic NAT, way different from Static NAT, but you still have to create the ACL on PAT. You don't have to do the pool. That's optional. There's another way to configure that. But yeah, overall, PAT is definitely better compared to the other two, used more often in modern networks. And we do have a lab, so I can show you better than I can tell you about how this works. Okay, now we got our lab right here, so let's get straight to it. Starting with number 1, configure Dynamic NAT on R1. Configure the appropriate inside/outside interfaces. Translate all traffic from this network right here, 172.16.0.0/24. Create a pool of these IP addresses from this subnet. So let's get straight to it. All right, we are in interface config mode for G01, and I'm going to assign the IPNAT inside command to that interface, because that is the inside of these devices that we're going to perform NAT on. Now, interface G00, that is the outside, so we're doing IPNAT outside on this interface. Now, we're going to do the ACLs in the pool. All right, we got a dynamic NAT access list. This is going to be the IP address range that's going to be translated. All right, now we got our pool configuration. Pool 1 is the name of it, and this is the IP address range we're going to use. Literally 2 addresses, but yeah, and there goes the subnet mask that we're going to use. That is a /24. Okay, for some reason the mask didn't work doing it that way, so let's try it this way. Okay, after doing some research, I have to put the net mask in front of there. So, yep, now on to the next step. So the next step is ping Google from PC1 and PC2, then ping it from PC3. And what happens to PC3's ping? Now, given that we're using Dynamic NAT and we only have 2 addresses in the pool, PC3 is not going to be able to ping PC2 because, there's no addresses, or what do they call it? Hold up. It's called the inside global addresses. There's no more of those to give out. So, the ping will not go through. The router's going to receive it, and they're just going to drop the packet. I almost forgot. I got to assign that pool to the ACL with this command. Now let's go ahead and ping. All right, we're pinging from PC2. And we got our reply. Now we're going to ping from PC1. And we got our reply for PC3. This should not work. Let's see. Yep. And I'm sure if we did it in simulation mode, the packet would just reach the router and drop. Because there are no more inside global addresses to use. So let me show y'all. Request timeout. And request timeout. We are 0 for 4. Now we're going to clear the NAT translations and remove the current NAT configurations, switch the configuration to PAT using R1's public IP address. So we're actually going to configure PAT the way I like to do it. We're not going to do that little pool thing. We're going to use the IP address of this outgoing interface right here. And that's going to be our inside global address for all the PCs. We're we're clearing the NAT translations. All right, to confirm, we did the show IP NAT translations and nothing comes up. So I got rid of the last configurations by just redoing them and putting no in front of it. And I checked for the access list, my bad right there, just to make sure we got the same access list because we're about to switch to PAT right now and I want to keep the same ACL. All right, so this is the command in order to set up PAT. So every in-host right here will share the public IP address of this interface right here, G00, which will be 203.0.113.1. They're going to use that IP address to communicate to this server or over the internet in general. But they will all have different port numbers that they'll be communicating from. So, yeah. Okay, just enter the command. So now let's go test if this works with some pings. PC1, oh, yep, right away. PC2, yep. And PC3, yep, all three. They are all using the same inside global address, which is the IP address of that interface. They're using that to communicate to 8.8.8.8. Now with the do show IP NAT translations, let's examine. And there we go. We got all our pings right there. As you can see, they all have the same inside, inside global address right here, but different inside local addresses. So appreciate y'all.